Hi, I'm Debbie with Cakes to Celebrate. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be tackling the finicky macaron, and I'm going to show you ways to create this delicious and beautiful cookie that is nearly foolproof. If you find this video useful, make sure you like it, subscribe, and ring the bell, and you're always welcome to add comment. So now we're going to be talking about ingredients. And since we're making the rosewater flavored macarons, the best thing that I use is the Silver Cloud Rosewater for flavoring. And then for coloring, I use the AmeriColor Maroon. So let's talk about the ingredients that are going into the macaron. We have 198 grams of powdered sugar. We have 113 grams of almond flour. We have 113 grams of egg whites, 1/8 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar, and then we have 100 grams of granulated sugar. So the first step to making these delicious macarons is actually incorporating the dry ingredients, which would be our powdered sugar and our almond flour. In my 5-cup Cuisinart mixer, what I'm going to be doing is layering my dry ingredients. So I like to put half of the powdered sugar, then I put all the almond meal or almond flour, and then I finish off the rest of my powdered sugar. So just kind of layer it around. Get it ready to mix. Whoops. Okay. Our next step is to take our room temperature egg whites with 1/8 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar and mix in our mixer on medium speed until light and foamy. So I'm going to be putting my egg whites into my stand mixer, adding my cream of tartar, gotta get it all. And now I'm ready to attach my whisk. So one of the tricks I use when I'm getting ready to mix my egg whites is I don't engage my whisk all the way into the mixer. So you can see it's not attached, but it's resting on the mixer. And what this does is it allows the whisk to get deeper into the egg whites to mix it well. The next step is to get ready for our sugar into the egg white. So because we disengaged our whisk, we want to put it back in when we're getting ready to add our sugar. So they call that reining in the sugar. And we're going to start the mixer, and I'll show you how to do that. We're going to be mixing our meringue on high until it's soft and shiny. So now that our meringue is the consistency of marshmallow cream, it's time to add the flavoring and color. So we have our rose water. I'll do 1/4 teaspoon of rose water. And 2 drops of our Americolor maroon. And now we're ready to mix these to a soft peak consistency. We're going to test our meringue. It's not quite ready, but I wanted to make sure I showed you what it looks like when it's not ready. It's still, the little peak is not up to about 11:30. It's right about 10 o'clock right now. So we're going to mix it a little bit longer so we get a little bit stiffer peak, and then that way we know our meringue is ready. So let's mix it just a little bit more. Okay, let's go ahead and test our meringue. Yep, that looks good to me. So the next step is to transfer it into our mixing bowl. So we're going to transfer our meringue into our mixing bowl and get ready to incorporate our dry ingredients. You can see that it's nice and shiny and light and fluffy, and that's exactly what we want. And it looks gorgeous. Love the color, and I can smell the rose. Now we're going to be incorporating our dry ingredients into our meringue. I do this in 3 different increments and lightly fold in the dry ingredients. So now we just have one more bit of flour to incorporate. Whoops. Hold on to the bowl. It helps to have muscles. So a way to get the air bubbles out of your dough now is to make like a flower pattern on the side of the bowl. And what you're doing is reducing the bubbles and letting the dough relax. I do this about 3 or 4 times to be sure it's ready to bag. Now what I do, another little trick, is I have this is about a 57-ounce cylinder that I got at Target. It's just an acrylic cylinder, and I use that to hold my bag because I don't have 3 arms. I used to, but I don't anymore. No. So go ahead and slide the piping bag over the cylinder, and that way I can use two hands to get my macaron mixture in the piping bag. So now I'm going to put my mixture in the piping bag, and it will be ready for piping. Go ahead and tighten the bag. And to do this, I lay it down on the counter, and with my bench scraper, just kind of push the excess dough down. Give it a twist. Have a handy twist tie here. And now we're ready to pipe. Okay, now it's time to start piping. So what I do is I have these bakery mats. They're silicone mats that I got from Amazon. They're called Bake It Fun mats. And what's really cool about them is they have the rings for the different sizes of macarons to kind of help guide you on the size of them. But I find that with my macaron mixture, sometimes, depending on the consistency of it, it can be a little bit heavier some days and a little bit lighter other days. So I find that it's actually even more accurate to go ahead and weigh each cookie as I'm piping. That's why I have my scale here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut the tip off of my disposable bag. And I don't want to take off too much because I do want to pipe these relatively slowly. So I've got that ready. And I'm going to, got my scale turned on. We're doing this in grams. And just lay my baking sheet. I have a baking pan with my silicone mat, and then I go ahead and I line the top of it with parchment paper so I don't dirty my mat. And I do find that the macarons release much easier off the parchment paper than silicone. That's my own personal preference, and I've found that that's what works for me. So what I do is I go ahead and start to pipe in the center of my little form, and then I count. So right now we're going to do this at 9 grams each cookie. And you'll find that your cookies come out very much the same. Now that our macarons are beautifully piped, I'm going to go ahead and show you what happens next. So you tap it on the counter about 7 times. Give it a couple bumps. And the reason for this is to get all the air out again. And now they're ready to dry for about 20 minutes. And for the supplies I'm using, you're always welcome to check in the link below. So now we're going to pipe again 9 grams of our macaron dough. And again, now after piping our macaron shells, we're going to be wrapping them on the counter to get more of the air out. This recipe makes 48 shells or 24 completed macarons, and now that they're piped, they're ready to sit in the rack to dry for about 20 minutes. And now after 20 minutes, we'll check our macarons to see if they're ready for the oven. They'll be dried to the touch, and that means they're ready to go. Now that our macarons are in the oven, I will set the timer for 7 minutes. Then I will do a half turn, set it for another 4 minutes, and check them. If the tops are sliding, I'll set the timer for 2 more minutes. Now we're ready to fill our macarons, and I go ahead and turn over half of them. And they're ready to fill with our rose water Swiss meringue buttercream. So we're going to go ahead. I've gone ahead and fill a bag, decorating bag. I'm going to snip the bottom and just pipe a relatively small amount on one shell and then match it with the other. And they're ready to go. Our macarons are done. They're perfectly decorated and ready to enjoy. If you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And we look forward to you watching future videos.